Welcome to Home is Where It's Parked. Today, Tyro will be showing you how he installed our solar system and all the electrical he installed in the van and where he placed it. We have some exciting more videos coming up with Tyro showing you how he gets water from a brook or an artesian well with a submersible pump, and definitely the two shower system and the swivel seats. Tiger and I would like to thank everyone that has subscribed to our YouTube channel. There are also other videos on our Facebook that are primarily about our off-grid camp. Enjoy the video.
So, today Shauna would like me to explain in some detail the electrical solar system in the van. So, up there is our 300 watt solar panel. I got that in Edmonton from the Solar Superstore, and it's attached. Come on over here, and it's attached to the roof, okay, with those channels on both sides are aluminum strut. It's 1 5/8 strut, and because of the crown of the roof, because the roof is crowned this way and that way, so they wouldn't sit flat. So what I did is I got at it's called the metal supermarket in Edmonton. They have ends of various different kinds of material. So I got a chunk of 1 inch by 1 inch square tubing, and I used pieces about a foot long, and I attached them on 4 flat points on the roof with a special silicone that I like to use because it's incredibly durable and adhesive. It can withstand like minus 60 degrees Celsius and all the way up to 200 plus degrees Celsius. It's
What is it called?
or 200 degrees Celsius. Anyways, it's called Dow 732. It's about 25 bucks a tube, but it's so worth it. So anyways, I drilled holes into the 1 inch tubing, one at each end, and I put the bead of silicone under it, and I squished it down, and then I put right into the fiberglass roof. I put 2 titanium tech screws to singe it down, and then the silicone solidified. I did that in 4 points, and then I attached my 2 struts to those. Okay, so then I attached the solar panel to the 2 struts, because you can get, the thing about that strut is you can get these little nuts called spring nuts, and the spring nuts, you can use them and they'll adjust, and you can bolt things down, so it's very secure. So anyways, that's the solar panel, and then out of the solar panel comes 2 wires, and they go through a special thing you get at this Solar Superstore. It's 2 connectors that's a weather tight box sort of thing that goes on the roof, and it gets also silicone down with the 732, and then the wires come through that and inside the van. And in here, those 2 wires come down through, and I made, you see these, when I did the van build, I left, when I boxed this in, the reason I made it like this and put the lights here is that I can pop these lights out, and I got 4-inch holes there under each light, and I treat this whole thing like a conduit, so I can run my wires through everywhere here, so all along the van, and then drop them down wherever, right? Or up or whatever. So at the back there's also two boxes that I built to square it off somewhat, but also it gave me a little bit of a raceway to run wires and pipe and anything like that through, right? And I can still access them by uncovering them. You can just pop a couple screws out and uncover it. So those wires came down through all that and down into the back, okay? And then they went, those particular wires coming from the solar panel went into the primary side of the DC, or the solar charger controller, and then they come out of that, and then they go through a disconnect and into the Victron management system. And it sounds complicated, but it's not. It's quite simple. Basically, you're coming out of the solar panel, you're going through the charger, and then you're charging your battery. That's it. But my Victron Energy battery management system ties into it. It connects onto the battery, and it's Bluetooth to my phone, and this tells me everything I need to know about the state of my battery, which is right here. I slide the stove out, and then back there is the 200 amp hour lithium ion battery. It's quite large. It's not very heavy though. You would think it would be heavier, but the lithium ion is great for lots of reasons. It's also a problem because of the cold. If you're charging a lithium ion battery when it's cold, you will destroy it, like when it goes to freezing. Now, after that, come out of the battery, and I ran through another fuse and into the inverter, and I got a 3,000 to 6,000 watt inverter back there, and that runs my AC voltage, my 120 volt stuff. And this is the remote switch for turning the inverter on and off, right? You don't need it on all the time, so I just press that, and then it goes off. And then I press it again, and it goes on. And this is my rocker switches for whatever. I got a voltage reading, and this gives me a couple of USBs. And the only thing I think I used that for was running the little air compressor that pumps some air in the tires. And it runs everything here is all the lights, the fan. This fan is 12 volts, this Soroka. But this fan here is 120 volts, and it's great. Makes it great for sleeping, eh? I have the electrical in here. I got a couple of plugs that I ran. I come out of the inverter and I went to a little breaker panel, and it runs my 120 volt stuff. Yeah, and you'll see back here, there's a cluster of wires. That red cluster of wires back there. Yeah, right there, see? That's all the wires, that's the control that's going to these switches here and my Victron, and it all comes from underneath and above. But you can't see any wires, but they're all accessible, right? And the hot water heater doesn't require any power except for ignition, because it's propane, on-demand hot water propane hot water heater, and that uses 2 D-cell batteries, which I can recharge, which I haven't recharged yet. So we went for a whole year, and I have not recharged those 2 D-cell batteries. Wow. So that's how long that'll last, right?
How much is the Victron to get all that?
I think the Victron system was, I think 400.
Where did you get it from?
Amazon.
Amazon, okay.
Yeah, Amazon. Good to have, because you can look on your phone, go into the app, and you can see exactly where you're at, eh? It's Bluetooth to your phone. You can see you got 84%. So when I'm in the driver's seat and I want to turn on my DC to DC charger, which means that I want to close the switch that runs, that the alternator charges up my battery at the back, I can turn that on, right? Because I can see on my phone that my voltage is getting, or is getting low, right? My percentage of battery is getting low. So if it's at like 70%, and it's not, the sun is, it's at night, right? And we're driving, I typically keep it on when I'm driving, unless it goes to 100%. I turn it off, because what happens is sometimes I'll forget to turn it off, and when I turn the van off and I forget to turn the switch off for the DC to DC charger, it drains my battery under the hood. So you got to be careful of that. Yeah, so that's kind of I would show you the electrical at the back, but it's not really necessary. And I have another electrical. It's an isolated receptacle, 120 volt receptacle that strictly just runs outside to a male plug that's sealed outside. So if I want to plug into shore power somewhere, I can just plug in an extension cord to the van, and it'll only run that receptacle, which we have an electric heater on board, right? And we could use it for a light or something like that if we had, free power, or access to power. So
let's go see it.
So that's that right there, right? This is some stuff. Pretty much everything. See that plug there? Right down. Okay. Yeah. Pretty much everything in this van. Pretty much everything in this van was, other than the roof, was all from Kijiji or Habitat for Humanity. Everything, like except for, some things I had to get on Amazon, but So I'm gonna take that camera up there.
That would be
and
great.
show them the strut and stuff up close, eh?
Okay.
So there it is, eh? So I got a 1 inch by 1 inch angle at the top that fastens down to the 1 5/8 aluminum strut, and it's all aluminum. And those bolts you see in there are titanium bolts. They're completely rust proof. And then you got see, that's a spring nut in there. See how that works? You can slide it along the strut anywhere. It's great stuff. Great type of method to fasten. And then there's the 1 inch by 1 inch square tubing there, screwed down with titanium tech screws to the roof, ×4. Right? There it is. And you can see way over there the wires going into that connector. Now, the type of battery that I used for the van has four points that you can connect to over here. So there's 2 posts at the top, positive and negative at the top, and then there's the original, the van leads tie into the side posts of the battery. So there's 2, right? So that was good to do it that way. And that runs right back on a 2-conductor number 6 tech cable, right to the back, tie wrapped up underneath, on top, inside the frame, very safe, right up into the back of the van. So I didn't have to go through the firewall and that kind of stuff. So pretty and I can add more stuff to it as time goes on, but I don't know, nothing's really come up, that we need to
No.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So the solar system, the whole package, how much did it cost?
Well, if you include the Victron, the battery, that's $2,000 right there. The solar panel is with the wire, the whole thing, I'd say $3,000 for all the material.
Like including the battery?
Including the battery. Yeah.
And the battery was $1,200.
Battery's $1,200.
But you got a better battery because you do.
Yeah, like you can figure out various ways to connect the panel to the roof, like to fasten it. But like that strut, just for one 10-foot chunk of aluminum strut was $150.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you don't have to use that kind of a method, though. You can use the brackets that come with it, but I don't know. I can feel like I can bend them slightly with just by hand. So I don't like that kind of stuff. It's got to be solid. So different people do things different ways, right?
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I'd say about $3,000 for that.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Anything you change on it, or you're happy with the whole system?
um, yeah, I can't think of anything I would change with it. No, no. Well, one thing I liked about um, the old van that I did the van build on, that Dodge van, is my system in there. I just ran my, because it was a lead acid battery that I was using instead of a lithium ion, and it was good because if my battery went dead in the front of the van, I could just hit the diverter switch there, and I could jump the van battery under the hood with the lead acid battery in the back, and it could work both ways, right? But this, you can't do that with that DC to DC charger. You can't do that kind of thing. But I liked that, but I can't do that, and I wouldn't have it any other way than have the lithium ion battery. It's the only way to
Okay.
go. Yeah.
Okay, that's excellent. Okay, thank you so much.
All right.